Good morning, Texas. We are here at ACL this weekend, joined by DJ Z-Trip.
Hello.
So how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's been a long day, and it's not even like 5 or 6 o'clock, but good. When the night comes, that's when I sort of wake up. So.
Yeah, I know, right? We're all like nocturnal here,
So
basically.
I'm just waiting for the sun to go down, and then I turn to a monster.
Yeah, the caffeine finally hits, right?
Yeah, right. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, now that the heat is finally leaving,
Yes.
I'm like, hallelujah, this breeze, I need this.
Yes.
Yeah, so you obviously have a pretty good career built in the music industry, as I've seen.
No complaints. No complaints.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it.
And so what sparked your interest? How did you officially get started in this industry?
It's funny. Really, it's as simple as I just started as a collector. I collected music, and back then, you would, people, if you were looking for certain versions of things, 12-inch versions, extended versions, you'd buy them on 12-inch records. And so my record collection actually sort of became the reason why I became a DJ, and the reason why I'm doing everything I'm doing is because I just loved this music and I wanted to get all the different versions that I could get. So getting them and buying them, after a while, people were like, "Hey, you're the guy with all the records. Like, why don't you come over and play some of your records at our our party or whatever?" And it's that slowly snowballed from that all the way now to, doing this with LL today or headlining Coachella, Bonnaroo, whatever, touring the world. So it's just funny because it was always just about music, and I just really made it about that, and it's always been about that for me. So everything has naturally just been a progression.
Because you are obviously a natural. I mean, if you're able to, people just finally come up to you and ask you to, once you just started out collecting the music.
Yeah, it was. I was very fortunate, but also I pay attention to how music goes together, and it wasn't just about having the music. It was about knowing kind of what to do with it, and over time experimenting and finding different combinations and what resonated with the crowd versus things I liked, and just the whole sort of science going into DJing and producing and utilizing sort of music, in that capacity. That's I think the thing that I feel separated me from other people who are doing the same thing is I kind of found my own niche and my own sound with that.
I think another thing that separates you is you have worked with some pretty top artists. So
there's been that, that didn't happen right out of the box, but yes, I've worked with quite a few folks.
Who would you say is your favorite that you've worked with?
That's tough, because I like them all for different reasons. But I would have to say probably one of the people, not just because we're here, but LL's amazing to work with. He's a great guy, amazing individual, but on top of that, we really click creatively. And when we're creating and we're working on sets, it's very much, I think Z-Trip and LL go to the side, and it just becomes about, Zach and Todd working on how do we make this thing cool? How do we make it better? How do we enhance what we already have here? And we check our sort of, not that we have egos, but we check all that aside and put the music first. And to me, sometimes you don't get that same connection with other artists. Sometimes it's a little bit of, you have to sort of work around that with certain people, or be aware of that. But the thing I love about him is he's so into creating, just like I'm into creating, that when we do stuff, it's organic and it's real, and we come up with these really interesting bits. And again, it's just he and I, so it's very traditional to what hip-hop has always been about, which is an MC and a DJ and us working together, not 30 people up on stage, hype men and the whole thing. It's just us and our two worlds, proper DJ, proper MC coming together and creating really good hip-hop for people to enjoy. So that, he's one of many, but I would have to say that probably my favorite, because it's just the creative is on 100.
Would you say y'all have a bromance, or would you not go that far?
I don't know if it's bromance. We have a love of hip hop music and a love of the culture, and that to me is something that it's rare, because a lot of people now I see are into it not for the culture but for the girls or the money or the fame or whatever. And not to say that those things are bad, but to me, again, I was doing this and would be doing this anyway because of my love for the music, that I really identify with that. When I see other people who are doing it for other reasons, I don't really vibe with that. So I don't say it's a bromance, but it's a mutual respect and understanding of the fact that we represent this culture, and obviously with him being an icon in the MC world, and me, being who I am in the DJ world, we both really give a shit about it. You know what I mean? That's the best way I can say it. And that to me is, I guess, it'd be, I don't know if it's bromance, but it's definitely he's my homie for sure, 100%.
That's awesome. So you really do. I can see you definitely have a respect for the art.
Love it. Love it. And to do it with him is incredible because I've worked with a lot of different MCs and all of them have been great at what they do. Most of them have been great, I should say. But he in particular, he still can deliver. Like anyone who's ever doubted or questioned, come to the show and you'll see a proper MC. I mean, people think he acts and this and that, but he's up there delivering, and that to me it makes my job easier because I can focus on doing what I do, and he can it's good. It's a good dynamic.
So I know you have a huge love for the arts. Obviously you're super transparent. It's very genuine.
Yes.
But let's say it became extinct and it didn't exist anymore. What would you do instead?
I would probably get into, like music in general, or just hip hop in general.
Music's gone.
The nerd.
Okay, technically, hip hop's gone and music in general.
All right. So if music's gone, I would probably get into art. I started doing graffiti before I did anything. So graphic illustration, graphic design, art has always been something that it's always interests me. And it's funny because I kind of had a little bit of a buzz going in that department in my world, in my career. But the DJ thing took off so hard that I was going to college for a while, and I just ended up stopping that, and just the music took off. So I've never really gone back to it professionally, but I'd probably dip back into that.
Super awesome. So do you have any art on display, or?
Very little. I mean, I've got things I've done for people and friends, and it's funny. Somebody asked me the other day to submit some stuff for an art show, and I was really excited because I was like, I would love to do that, and then I realized that in order to create art, you need time, and I have zero time because of all the music stuff. So it was like, I have to work on, in the next few years, figuring out how I can carve out a little bit of time to actually maybe work on something I could curate 5 or 6 pieces and put them somewhere and have it, it's an extension, but I've just kind of let it go, for a long time. So that's a great question, though.
Thank you. So we are a morning show.
Yes.
And we air live every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Are you a morning person?
Not by nature, but it depends on what I'm working on. You know what I mean? It also depends on the time zone. I'm pretty much like Clay when it comes to traveling. So wherever I'm at, it could be 7 in the morning somewhere. You know what I mean? Or 7 in the morning my time could be 5 p.m. somewhere else, whatever. So I bob and weave, but normally. I've always been a nocturnal person because to me when the city starts to go to sleep, that's when I become active, and that's because the phone stops, the emails stop, the distractions stop, the freeways open up. You know what I mean? You can I do all my shopping whenever I can do it in the evening. All my running around that I can do in places that are like 24-hour spots, like a Target or something. They're open 24 hours. You will see me there at 3 in the morning. Getting all my stuff done because there's nobody else I got to deal with, you know what I mean? And I love that. I love the freedom of being able to operate without a lot of chaos, you know what I mean? And the same thing goes for working in the studio. It's like once that world settles down, I can sit down and do these long 4 or 5 hour stretches of art and music at my home or my studio, and that to me is like when you get it's like sleeps, like deep sleeps. You could do these sleeps, but as soon as you get into the deep REM stuff, that's where the real magic happens. It's the same thing with being in the studio. If you go and you try and regiment your studio out to like, I'm gonna do an hour here, then I'm gonna go here. Sometimes the really great stuff happens when you're 3 hours in and you're like immersed into a thing and you're on a vibe and there's a pulse going. That's where you find the really good stuff. And so to me, I'm very aware of I need that buffer time, and the only way that happens is if I lock the studio, turn off the phone, and know that everybody else that would be contacting me, a booking agent or whomever that want to talk to me about business, I can just tune it out. So therefore, I end up going to bed at like 7 in the morning, and sometimes I'll wake up at 2 or 3 p.m. So it's like that's my cycle. I prefer it that way.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I was like, I've never thought that way, and now you've really inspired me.
It's the best. It's because there's no distractions. There's no waiting in traffic. You know what I mean? Like we used to live in LA, and you would have to schedule. You had to plan your day around going to a thing, something that was 30 miles away because it would take you the whole day to get out there and come back. if it's something I can go and do at 3 in the morning, and I can do it in 15 minutes. So.
Yeah. Well, wow. I mean, you're inspiring me over here about my day.
That's how I operate. I find it easier because, again, less people around, less traffic.
Well, okay, so since we are a morning show, I was wondering if you could say, I'm DJ Z-Trip and you're watching Good Morning Texas. Do you think you can do that for us?
Of course. What's up, everybody? This is DJ Z-Trip and you're watching Good Morning Texas.
Yes, that was great. Thank you so
You
much.
got it.
That was a great time.